Hey there, this is Mario from ShockingFit.com, and in this video I'm going to talk about what Zen Buddhism taught me about fitness. So it is a bit of an uncommon topic to link these two things together, but I feel like the philosophy of Zen Buddhism has a lot in common with fitness, with the fitness journey, and as well as any other journey of self-improvement. So the concept I want to lay out today and an idea that I want to put out there for you guys, is called Shoshin, and directly translated means beginner's mind. So this is a very powerful concept of Zen Buddhism, and it's often used in learning Japanese martial arts. And what it essentially means is that when you approach a situation, you won't prejudge the situation based on the fact that you already know stuff about it. And to simplify things, that means that we often think of ourselves as experts when we approach a situation, and that closes our mind to actually see if there's something else to be learned there, or if we can improve ourselves. And I've been guilty of this myself. I mean, there's countless times that I've just said, oh yeah, I don't want to finish this book because, yeah, Brian Tracy talks about the same thing as John Maxwell. I don't need to finish John Maxwell's book, right? I already know that from Brian Tracy. Or let's say you read an article and halfway through the article you're like, oh shit, I know this already. I don't need to finish this. And in reality, I mean, there are articles that are fillers, just like not even worthy of your time to even open up. But think about all the opportunities and maybe some situations where you missed out because you approach the situation as an expert, as someone who is kind of prejudged it, someone who already knows everything, quote unquote. And versus what if you've approached it as a beginner, where you could learn and where you could be an open-minded person, where you could learn a lot more about that same thing. And I know myself, I mean, as I said, I've been guilty of this in fitness because I was, okay, I know everything, my workout plan is the best plan, I know this, I know that. And that was actually holding me back for a long, long time before I figured out, okay, look, you don't know shit, right? You won't get anywhere, right? Because once you realize that the results aren't coming from your expertise, it's time for you to actually seek out and learn more, right? And that is something where I found Shoshin and Zen Buddhism to be very, very similar, because the journey is a journey where you're continually learning. So there's no way to stop learning. As soon as you stop learning, you stop growing. That's one of my favorite quotes. So what it means to adopt Shoshin is essentially approaching every situation without any prejudgments in your mind what you could have get out of it. So I mean, you can take this to the extreme, which I don't recommend. I would still say, I mean, keep a rational mind, try to gather as many facts as you can, but what it helps with is to eliminate that confirmation bias. Because we humans, we are irrational creatures. There's a lot been written on that, and I'm going to mention that book again, which is called Predictably Rational by Dan Ariely, which is turning into one of my favorite books because every concept I think about, I feel like Dan Ariely already covered that in his book. So the confirmation bias essentially means that once we encounter a scenario, we're going to be searching for evidence of our current beliefs in that scenario before we even think about what it actually means. So we're going to interpret the situation through our own unique experiences. So it's going to be completely subjective instead of actually gathering facts and being objective. And that is a trap that a lot of us fall into. I believe that Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett talk about this a lot, and that's one of the things that make them the richest people in the world, is because they know like what humans are biased toward, and they kind of have their own tricks to avoid that. So avoiding the confirmation bias is one of the keys to growing in fitness and nutrition and in pretty much all areas of your life. Like, think about last time when you were encountering a situation where you just blew off completely like any chance of learning because you feel like, oh yeah, I can't learn anything from that person, right? And that immediately shuts your brain off and you don't even think about it anymore. And one other cool thing that I found in Zen Buddhism, it's kind of related to this Shoshin concept, is basically having the ability to accept failure, right? Beginner can accept failure. Expert can't. Like, rarely you'll encounter an expert who's like eagerly seeking to fail. And I know myself, I'm now trying, when I learned this concept, I'm trying to put myself in scenarios, proactively where I'm gonna fail more. So I went ahead and I booked some acting lessons, I booked some improv classes, and these scenarios are, I am a beginner. I'm putting myself in a situation where I have no idea what am I gonna do there. And I'm completely approaching with a blank mind, no prejudgments, and I'm just going in there and I'm being coached. And that kind of opened my mind again. Damn it, like it's so good to be a beginner again, because you can actually enjoy the process of learning, and you fail a little bit, you learn a lot, and it just puts you in that right state of mind. That's something I would recommend for you as well. Like, try to seek out situations where you're a beginner again. No matter how good you are developed in one area of your life, I mean, there must be something, some hobby, something that you want to do where you're going back to that beginner's mind. So one thing that is kind of interesting with this is a story that I heard just recently. So apparently this older guy asked a little kid when he saw the kid failing and the kid like fell down a few times and playing with his toys, he just can't get it right. And the old guy approached the kid and like out of, I guess to like kind of make a joke out of it, he's asking me, okay, what are you good at? What's your best, like, where are you best at? And the little kid replied to him, said, I'm the best at trying. So it's really unexpected to hear such words of wisdom from a little child, but once again, the child is in the beginner's mind, and the child is actually enjoying the process. He's willing to fail, and he's best at failing, best at trying. And that child is probably gonna one day be very, very successful if he continues having that same mindset. And that, having said that, I mean, we ourselves, a lot of our thoughts, a lot of our beliefs and mindsets, we just simply took them from our parents, from our surroundings, from our mentors, without ever questioning them. And once we take those beliefs, we become the expert, quote unquote, and then that blocks us. I mean, if we allow it to create an ego, that will block us from learning more about the subject and going in depth and actually seeking out the true source and seeking out if we can improve ourselves, and is the stuff that we're doing really optimal. I mean, it's really hard, I mean, just from the perspective of training and nutrition, to know everything, right? It's impossible. Even an expert is just an expert in a particular style of training, because the field is so vast and so big that it's impossible to be an expert for everything. So often if you look out, you'll see that the guys who are experts, they're experts in a very particular area, and they have their own style of training. That doesn't mean that the other style is false or wrong. It just simply means that you can just be an expert in a very small, tight niche. And that's something interesting that kind of relates to this concept of beginner's mind. So if you find this idea interesting, and if you learned something in this video, definitely leave me a comment below. I'm interested in what do you think about Zen Buddhism, and if you've read some books or articles or something that inspired you to keep learning, to keep growing. I would love to know more about it. So just leave me a comment below and let me know what do you think about the whole concept of Shoshin as well, because it's a really cool idea. It helped me a lot. So I'm looking forward to discussing that with you in the comments. And once again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click subscribe on the YouTube channel below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.